Hello and welcome to the Double or Nothing review. We are the Dadley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett, Michael Sidgwick, live on YouTube to review AEW Double or Nothing in the Big 26. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, on YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a bunch of good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett this week to review AEW Double or Nothing. What a show this was.
The show was absolutely incredible. The big chatter in the aftermath was this one of the very best professional wrestling pay-per-views of all time? For my take, it was one crucial disappointment of a match away from that for me.
Right.
There was one match that was simply so long and so featured that I just didn't have a good time with at all, that I can't put it in that conversation. But just at a minimum, it's the tier below. And I'll tell you what, right? I know it's insufferable when people say, I was right about this, and now my agenda has been proved correct, and I'm going to be insufferable about it. I've thought for the longest time, I would describe All In 2024 an amazing show, an amazing atmosphere. If you look at it visually, and it looked a lot better on TV than it was in the building, but even in the building, it was like, oh, it's a bit sparse. They've got away with it. They've just about got away with this looking not embarrassing, but we're right on the line of it. I love the idea of them going to Arthur Ashe in the first place, because what a gimmick. What a work. You have the aesthetic, the vibe, the illusion of big-time stadium wrestling, but with Arthur Ashe, what was it, 20,000? You've got something way closer to an arena crowd than a stadium crowd. But because the vibes, the aesthetic, and the vista of fans is still there, you can still say, and I'll take it, oh, you've done a stadium show. I thought, looking at All In 2024 ticket sales and how that was, if that's the best, and it's not going to be that good again, relocate. If you must do an All-In, and they did a really good job of this last year, by the way, as well, with the baseball stadium workaround. Either do baseball stadiums or like tennis stadiums, so you've got the look in about 5,000 more than you would normally get. Do All-In shows at tennis or baseball stadiums all the time now, because you've got the look, you've got everything else. They should do All-In at this venue next year. It was absolutely unbelievable to look at. This New York crowd. There's something about New York at the minute. I don't know if they're just wildly enthused about their mayor who does things, and the Knicks are doing well or whatever. But these people, this crowd, I can't remember the last sustained, loud, enthusiastic, we're not leaving crowd response top to bottom for an AEW pay-per-view. Like, I've been very, very adamant for the longest time that every AEW pay-per-view is one match too long. This crowd simply refused to accept that reality. And, you know, on the subject of agendas, that one went out the window for one night only. There was not a single match where fans were like, oh, God, can't be arsed with this. This was special. They've probably done better match cards, but my God, this felt so special, so iconic of a night instantly. As soon as that first and second match happened, it was like, holy hell, something is happening here. People are going to have glorious memories of this one. It's going to be in the conversation. One crucial match that I really didn't have a good time with at all aside, this would have been up there for me.
Just echoing Sidge's comments before I get your thoughts on it, by the way. Everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us live on YouTube. David Bornstein says, greatest live wrestling show I've ever attended. The crowd felt like a furnace. Yeah, they were really good throughout this night. Hedgehog action. Right, this was the best wrestling pay-per-view I've ever been to. I've never experienced a crowd that hot from beginning to end.
I'm jealous of people, by the way.
Yeah.
Paul Will says pay-per-views like All Out 2021 and All In 2024 had the highs that are almost untouched. This, from beginning to end, was the most consistent show AEW have ever done.
I'm curious to find out what the match decision like when we get to it, because I don't want to step on my own dick here, but I loved all of this. It's the first thing I said to yourself and Murray this morning. Like I felt it instantly afterwards. Like, is this me? Like, I felt like I'd watched one of the best wrestling shows I'd ever seen, ever.
Loads of people said this.
And I was like almost relieved to hear that was consensus, because I didn't want to think, well, what have I just been? What has cast a spell on me that hasn't captured everybody else's attention? Like, I was in a really good mood. I was hungover as sin, but I was in a very good mood when I watched it. But I wasn't in a particularly wrestling headspace. You understand that when football's more your thing and you win world, as you say, you're watching clips or whatever. Like, and if anything, it had a bit of an uphill climb. Really, I'm thinking, right, I've got to lock in now for what's typically like 4 hours where something outstays its welcome or asks for too much of your time or whatever. Not for a second. Like, I love the bones of this show. Like, this is, I think, the best AEW pay-per-view as a whole experience since All Out 2021. I think it'll age better. I think it'll age better. I think it's one of my, I just felt it in the moment. It's one of my favourite shows. And it was funny you mentioned about All In.
All Out 2021 increasingly doesn't matter anymore because we're back, obviously. Yeah. But that felt like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And like I suppose there was some not wholly unreasonable comparison to WrestleMania X7, where it's like the show is perfect. Has this accidentally been a finale of a great era rather than a sign of things to come? Which wasn't all true, but you could see the certain comparison points. But your point about All In being here next year, I wasn't thinking that, but I was thinking, based on current sales, and I know so much can change when you actually advertise a card, and you know, even when people are assuming what the main event of All In this year is going to be, you would just expect there to be another run on tickets. I don't know if they can dress Wembley the third time when the novelty wears off of everything, whether you want it to or not, to look and feel as amazing as this did. I really don't. Like, if you, let's say they get to 50,000 again, which at the moment seems unlikely.
That would be a dream for them right now.
Like, it seems almost out the question now, but you genuinely never know. When people have that guarantee that it is Ospreay, or maybe Kenny has his singles match or whatever, you just don't know what.
Sweet Chin Disco gets confirmed for the same night or something like that.
That sort of thing.
An amazing after party afterwards.
All of those sorts of things, you know, they're known for drawing people.
So no association with WhatCulture?
No.
Yeah.
Wilbourn,
I'll start advertising my own stuff.
You should.
You shouldn't do anything.
Well, but if you would, we would support it.
Yeah. Coffee. If you had your own coffee, we drink it on here.
Cup of sage.
Get some sage down your neck.
Yes.
Like that, yeah. Slurp of sage.
Yeah, there
you go. You get there in the end.
Let's say they do 40 then, right? Which is possible, but right now still feels generous.
What are they on now, like 25, 30K, something like that?
Something like 27. It's, 40 is still a way to go. Can they make 40,000 at Wembley, especially if they haven't got like the benefit of the Taylor Swift staging? Can they make that look as amazing as they show it? I'm not so sure. No. Like, it was a feast. I think you said feast. It's like, I couldn't stop looking at different bits of the show, which is ideal because there are moments where, you're permitted, when it's match, you're permitted to just take a break out of the thing you're watching and be like, I'm just going to look at this for a bit. The views of every time that section behind the entrance, those were the ones I was most jealous of. They looked amazing on screen and you knew their view was going to be fantastic and they were so hyped. Even the cuts, like the cuts previously, in the era where Kevin Dunn got drunk on cuts to fans, it became this like hex on the product. There was a lot of that on this show, but they were really fun cuts.
Why wouldn't you?
They were really fun cuts. The fans were just like, they were in different states of like euphoria, basically, weren't they? Or shock or whatever. And I remember when we did the Revolution review, and I remember starting that by saying, I think that's one of the best AEW pay-per-views ever. And I'm not sure now that I feel that, because enough times passed that I've already started to forget some of the things on it. I don't think I'm going to forget half of this. And for the umpteenth show in a row, like Tony Khan's just stubborn refusal to accept conventional wisdom is starting to just prove him right again.
That's the thing I'm wrong now on this.
Whole thing about like, because I never disagree with you about the pay-per-view length, but this whole thing about like, well, yeah, you kind of do that weapons thing if you've got this weapons thing coming up, and it's like, it used to be the argument you couldn't really do two on the same show, let alone two back-to-back or matches of similar themes within like, sort of one match of one another. You can. Like, he just does it now, and fans tell you through their noise and through their reception if it's worked or not, and more often than not now it works.
Yeah, I'm taking the Meltzer point of view of it now, where there were two instances of one trope on this show, and they both got absolutely monster reactions. Yeah. So it at a point it is, well, it's fair enough. It is fair enough. I had a great time with it.
Yeah, Scott Hutchinson says AEW are on a phenomenal run of pay-per-views this year. It's been incredible. Monkey Boy PK says, yeah, another fantastic pay-per-view that made it worth staying up till 5 a.m. before work to watch. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Swerve Bandido. Thank you for that. We will get to it. And I love this from T-Law Nation. Knew it was a banger when the Cope and Cage match was actually good.
I mean, he had his best night since 2020.
Yeah.
He had his best night since Royal Rumble 2020, did Cope.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Yeah, it was to open the show. Cage and Cope. I haven't seen this, but as I was making my notes, I read that there was a run-in between MJF and the newest AEW signing, Mick Foley, on the buy-in, apparently, which I need to go back and now watch.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
I do as well.
Good stuff.
I mean, funny, isn't it, when MJF bullies people? All good stuff.
He could be the fifth man of some team and do something at some point.
Sort of Mox, or as he was, Dean Ambrose, Mick Foley teased years and years and
there
years
ago. There was an aborted Dean Ambrose Mick Foley feud premised on the idea that Mick Foley's risk-taking in that Attitude Era destroyed a generation of wrestlers. It's all a bit meta and whatnot, but it couldn't happen for pretty obvious reasons.
Last sort of big thing pre-Shield that got Ambrose in the conversation, so that when the Shield launched, it was Ambrose getting his go now because the Foley thing had to be stopped. Mick Foley, that's a talking point, isn't it? You know, like Mick Foley and like debuts in AEW, like so interesting. I don't know. Is this like?
Oh,
I thought a lot of his stuff, in TNA and in WWE, I know that he was used in such a way that didn't do him any favors, but I did think he had maybe shown, you know what, there's not really anything to draw from now, and that's all right. You have done enough. You have given enough. It is okay that I can't really buy your earnest, stern voice promos anymore because it feels like you're pulling the string in your back rather than actually meaning it. He did one last great one with Edge when he was feuding with The Undertaker, 2007, I think, and that was the last time I ever felt like he really meant it. Piper was a bit guilty of that as well. Be that guy that we think you are, and it kind of doesn't matter what you're saying. The new guys are buzzing to work with you, and they'll think they get this rub, even though those days are gone. Is that going to be true in AEW? Because Tony Khan's record with figures like Mick Foley is excellent. Like, is there...
Well, he'll at some point remind you why Mick Foley was such a legend.
Was it as much the problem, not just of maybe Foley's performance level then, but of the system that he was in?
Look where he worked and at what time.
Yeah, like that WWE, that TNA, his own sort of unwillingness, I guess, to maybe call it a career at certain points, whereas now that's probably not an option. As you say, like a fifth man doing a couple of stunts is one thing. It's very different than like working a match.
He could be Paul White in the Like a Dragon Street fight once, and
that's it.
And it would be unbelievable.
And the generation he would now, MJF being the like perfect first example, the generation he is now putting over, there's enough of a distance age-wise where when he does it, it's not in this sort of like, you're not that much more grizzled than them, to be honest, Mick. He is a full 20 years out the game type of guy that offers something different. Like he's getting to live the Terry Funk dream he would have always wanted to live, but he's now actually at the point where he can credibly do it, you know?
His annual Get Scared of Hell in a Cell lads promo was torture.
Yep.
I will say you might want to go back and watch Foley's stuff.
People are saying in the chat, I need to...
Not only did a great angle with MJF, but he makes a gaff. That's very funny.
All right.
He's probably still got more chance of winning the world title than Hangman Page as well. But yes, let's start with the first match on the main card for the AEW Tag Team titles. It was FTR defending
Catch
against...
the pre-show? Didn't watch the matches.
FTR versus Cage and Cope. An I Quit New York street fight. Of course, if Cape
and Coach.
I've nearly done that like 3 times already. If Cage and Cope had lost, they must retire as a tag team.
Badney's Brown's real name, wasn't it? Alan Coach.
Yeah.
Coach could go.
Coach could go.
Very early on, barbed wire is introduced. It's a bit attempted to be wrapped around an arm. Then it's wrapped around the middle rope, that Dax's face was then forced into, and Christian did that thing, Cage did that thing where he stood on his back.
All right.
very early on. It's because I'm fighting calling them Edge and Christian and Cage and Cope and all the other different names. But yeah, it's very early on that I would have quit at. Like, I watched that and they were like, yeah, and Dag's like, oh, no. And I was like, yep, that's it for me. Thank you very much. Cage got the pliers at one point and went after Dax's nose/mustache, and then got Wheeler's junk. Basically, Cope was taken out of it with a spike pile driver on the announce table.
Brilliant.
Bye-bye. Guess that's the end of your career.
Was it on this show or was it on Dynamite? There was a really good commentary line about that very recently, where I think it was Tony Schiavone was like, the thing with that is you're looking to take guys out. He said it so matter-of-factly as if to say, like, you know, when wrestlers try and tell you that something's crossing the line, they did it with Owens and Cody and the package pile driver. Schiavone was almost like offended. You know, you're hitting somebody with a spike, you're looking to take him out. And he was so...
He's got that in him still.
And therefore, there it is. He's done it to him in this on a table, no less. Of course, that's why he's out the match for as long as he is. And we get to the Christian having to survive bit. It was like it legitimized it in a way where like a lot of moves are delegitimized by the way wrestling works now. You know, and it pulled it back like out of nowhere, really.
And then they try and take out Cage's bad arm with the cinder block. They miss. And then they put his arm inside what's left of the cinder block and threaten to hit it with a chair. Funny line from Christian here. He says, I banged your mother. And everyone's like, ha. And then they hit the cinder block with the chair whilst his arm was inside, which is a bit like, well, just hit his arm with the chair, really, wouldn't you? That's just protecting
double
hurt.
Double babble.
Eventually, Cope came back in with some spears, as you said, after Cage had to survive for a long time on his own. There's chair shots handed out by him. Dax begs for mercy but doesn't quit. And Stokely comes in there with a wrench. There was a toolbox introduced very early on, hence where the pliers came from, to send Cope into a shatter machine. And this brings out a returning Beth Copeland.
Beth, I knew you'd come. That's because I make you come every night. My hot wife.
And she was there.
Beth, grab that big wood. No, the one under the stairs. That's for later.
Every night.
Beth, I want you to last out there as long as I do in the bedroom with you, about 10 goddamn seconds, because she's immediately sent into the steps. What was it, Dax? Like, I was a bit like...
Make them say, I quit, like I never would during sexual intercourse with you, Beth.
It was a bit like, hey, Beth's back, all the time waiting. Wham!
Funny. Unbelievable. He tracked that woman like the New Day's ice cream cart.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
So they set the table up on the... Oh, sorry, it's all been set up, but Dax Howard coats it, the whole bottle of lighter fluid on it, and he sets it on fire, and they try and FTR try and take them out, but instead it's Stokely who takes it all, poor bastard.
Telegraphed it, I will say that. But
it was I feel bad complaining about anything on this show because, again, there is no such thing as success on this show. You really can't do too much for these fans. But, like, dare I say, they kind of rush through the flaming table of it all. Like, you can allow that to build a bit more if you want, like, as soon as you're on the apron. Right, through you go, because I've got the next bit to get to. It's like, that's a flaming table.
I know.
You can live with this one as well. But then it's on to the next
AEW.
I also never know the rules with the lighter fluid stuff, because I've seen so many like botchamanias where it's like, oh my god, a flaming table, and it's out, and then they go through and it's like you've gone through a warm table.
I will say the Stokely bump was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He is the absolute master of that. Sucked more than was necessary. Thank you.
In case I forget to mention it, in all the fallout from Double or Nothing when we preview Dynamite tomorrow, presumably he's going to be covered like a mummy with bandages.
Oh, he should be.
There is you would have probably seen this. This might be from weeks ago, so I apologise. The video of that robot dancing to Billie Jean that trips on the stairs. I got sent this over the week. You watch it 100 times, don't you? Yeah. It never gets old. The way in which the robot is left at the end as the music plays, that was Stokely after the table. The body shape was the same. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, Scott, I think we all have the anxiety here that Scott has had. You know, like, oh my God, covered it in lighter fluid. Here's the lighter. And you're like, what if it doesn't work?
Where's the flame? Yeah.
class. But no, after all this, it looks like FTR are going to concerto Cope. And as he's been asked if he quits before they, take him away from his kids was what they were implying, or the saying, basically. Beth's there to make the save. There's a pile driver in there, a sharpshooter from... I got a bit confused here. There was a sharpshooter from Cage, and Cope gets like a crossface on. I was like, this feels like the finish, but it can't be it. But then I didn't bargain on the return of Spike. Spike! He's been hanging into the stairs the whole time. Spikesy! And yeah, that is added.
Killing.
Unbelievable finish. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets the I quit from Dax.
I will say, right, this must have been this complete and utter irresistible triumph, because there were two things in it that I really don't like at all. One of them was a your mom joke. The other was Adam Copeland. And yet I thought this was absolutely irresistible, proper, dramatic, fun, violent, perfectly done. Like, it's one of those definitional professional wrestling matches where if you don't know what it is, oh, it's this. If oh, what is it, that fake stuff? Well, it's also this black comedy, genuine violence, like real drama. I'll say this as well, like FTR and Adam Copeland in particular. I don't know what the Cage FTR relationship's like, but I know that Cope and FTR are as tight as can be. I know that when Copeland was in one company, having not great a run after the return, if you're looking at their WhatsApp group, they must be going, God, I wish we could work together. God, I wish we could work together. What if one day we work together, we could do this, we could do that. This thing has been in gestation for over 12 months at this point. They've dreamed about it. They've battered ideas around. This is like a proper career goal of theirs, something they've been desperate to do. The way this all went, the crowd reaction, even in their wildest, naive, I wish we could do this dreams, they could never have thought it would have gone as perfectly as this. It was magnificent. Everything, like, this is the definitional wrestling match, right? What is it? Oh, it's this.
Perfect
Just
opener.
deliriously entertaining, but there was gravity to it. Really funny at various points, but not like, ha-ha, outwardly funny. Just like dickhead funny, like people being
Yeah.
dickheads to each other, like wrestling trash talk, dickhead funny, black comedy with a physical spot. I don't like Shag the Imam Crack Ride because it's just, well, when? Do you know what I mean? Like when people would say it at school, it's like, well, no, you didn't really. So I just never found it funny at all. But you can deliver anything as long as your timing's perfect. And that Christian Cage, I banged your mother. Absolutely unbelievable, right? And from a character perspective, he's been smashing Mother Wayne's back doors in until not too long ago. So he's got previous for the Milfage.
Yep.
So I take it seriously from him. He knows his way around a bit of MILF strange. It was just so perfectly done. And my God, that crowd, it seemed to like raise them to a level that they thought, this is great, actually. She would just sit here for the rest of the night. I usually hate as well, so I don't really like Adam Copeland very much as a pro wrestler. I don't like your mom jokes. And it's a trife. What's the worst of all those offenders? Maybe this one. I hate when wrestling fans do funny chants and think they're hilarious, right? Even that was brilliant because it was booming and it was so goddamn loud and it felt actually they were just so impressed and pissing themselves at that spot that they went above and beyond in terms of just echoing it back. You're not on Twitter. Tony Khan, justified, I banged your mother chance.
I mean, that's excellent.
No,
That's brilliant.
that's unbelievable.
He's taking the piss out of himself, and his products are giving him a way to do that and have fun with it.
This was, honestly, it was getting to a point with Cope where it's like, people have forgotten how great you were because this comeback run has been so dour and flat and cringeworthy at times. And a career highlight for Adam Copeland. Unbelievable, this.
I knew this was going to rule because even the singing along to his theme was quite affecting in a way that it isn't normally. I like Cope, Edge enough. Never a guy that I've loved. Some career highs, some career lows. That's most wrestlers, you know. So when his theme became one of the sing-along ones, it was never really something that I've been in a building where the pop has been worthy of it, right?
So
Clash at the Castle,
Jesus Christ!
You know, that music and him.
I once argued that it should get taken away from him.
Yeah.
The theme. Let's see how over he actually is.
And then when he brought that Judgment Day one in, didn't he? And it wasn't the same, you know.
Yep.
Like there's something about the alchemy between the two that brings that reaction out in people. So it's never that I don't buy it, but sometimes because it worked in Australia once, I remember it did feel like after that it was something he loved so much. It was like, can we keep milking this? It's like not on a Dynamite, mate. Like not on this pay-per-view where half.
You're kind of like the last guys to have crowd sing-alongs.
But this one, there was absolutely no doubt the crowd were going to do it. And he didn't even, you saw when the camera went to him, again, when the wrestlers really want that, they can't fake how much they want it. And it's like, you know what? This might actually be pretty profound, what we've got right now between you guys and me. Like
This actually was.
the camera cut to him and he was just fired up for the match. He looked like a guy in the zone of this wrestling match he was about to have. And that this big sing-along thing was incidental. I was like, everybody's playing the right part here. He's too serious and jacked up for this, and the fans are just buzzing to watch it play out. You flagged up a point, and I can't remember at what point you did it, but it was relevant then, and I think it's just as relevant now, when you said, right, cards on the table, away from TLC, I'm going to need this list of great Edge and Christian tag matches. And
We've had two, but they've only been this year.
And it was hard to come by, wasn't it? Yeah. This is the best Edge and Christian tag match ever. Ever. And I know you could say, well, maybe not because there's still gimmicks attached to it. You know, there was plenty of gimmicks attached to this. But as far close to a straight-up tag than the TLC.
The last pay-per-view was real strong as well.
Yeah.
The finish was unbelievable.
I enjoyed the knockabout one at Forbidden Dough, and I thought the first match with FTR was very good. Like, this is the best run as a team.
It might not be happening for much longer. I think they'll resign with AEW. But my God, this AEW FTR run is it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. We take the piss with Dex and Cash, but if you look at the amount of iconic matches and now rivalries that they've had, it's crazy. Because not only is this Cope and Cage thing actually worked to the level that they've dreamed about, they've had the Briscoes feud. They've had like a litany of unbelievable matches on Collision as well. The Outrunners Miracle match last year. They finally got that unqualified classic with the Young Bucks earlier this year as well, when everyone else was a little bit, that's a bit of 4.5 stars, this. They've had the 5 with the Bucks this year as well. What an unbelievable run FTR have had.
They're a long-term storytelling tag team, and that's quite hard. Even in AEW, which, you know, in theory loves tag wrestling more than WWE, doesn't always show it, but when the division's in good health, FTR are one of the best examples of it for those stories.
They got the entertainment value this year as well with the Stokely partnership, like unbelievable.
He's found his act.
Yeah,
it wasn't working with him until he got with FTR. Like
I can't say enough good things about this entire presentation.
Let's move next to the international title: Okada versus Takeshita.
I was gonna,
oh my God,
just assume this button is getting pressed at all times,
oh my God,
other than one match. Which, by the way, I'm sorry.
Obviously, these two got a great deal of history together. Late on in the match, Okada hits another Rainmaker to send Takeshita out to the floor.
Had everything there.
Okada DDTs him on the floor, but Don Callis is there to call off the tombstone. But that allows Takeshita to recover and hit a brainbuster on the floor. Don freaks out, and Takeshita's like, I've had enough of this. Been too bloody long. Flips him off. Big German suplex. Okada hits a tombstone for a 2 count. Takeshita fires up. Back and forth with Okada. Blue Thunder Bomb. Goes for the running knee. That gets counted into a Rainmaker attempt, which gets counted into a roll-up for 2. The Rainmaker connects, but Okada holds onto the arm, goes for it again, but Takeshita hits his own Rainmaker. He hits the running knee. 1 count. Raging Fire, though, gets the 1, 2, 3, and the win of the international title for Konosuke Takeshita. Post-match, looks like the Don Callis family is going to attack Takeshita. There's a stare down between him and Okada, but Carl Fletcher returns. He comes down. Great history, obviously, with Takeshita, obviously, and hugs him. The
what
family
was their
leaves.
team name?
proto shit at.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Another character gone.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. How will we cope?
We've got a new one now. What was it? Triple H on Unreal. That
Triple H
was
on
Yeah.
Unreal.
So I think we'll be all right.
We've got foul-mouthed Lord Alfred Hayes last
Indeed,
week.
yeah.
There's
as
always
well.
new people popping in.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
never
Well,
know.
we've got lots of friends.
But Fletcher's there to seemingly side with Takeshita. And as the family leaves and Carl holds up his arm, he attacks Konosuke Takeshita, hits him with a brainbuster, and Okada and Fletcher pick up the title at the same time, but Okada hands it to him to nail Takeshita with the international title.
This was absolutely phenomenal in terms of the pure execution of moves and when they were performed. Absolutely phenomenal. So good, in fact, right, that other than just AEW brackets general, 97 fed, like, I'm quite a basic bitch with, like, my favorite eras of wrestling. It's like I just kind of drawn consensus. I agree with like-minded people with who I believe have good taste. Very, very high up on that list of my favorite eras of wrestling, or the best I've ever felt watching wrestling, and the happiest I've been to invest and be a fan. Resurgence era New Japan. However, because it was 6 years ago where it all kind of faded away. It feels not that long.
Mm.
It's not something I'm really, in my spare time, prepared to like, I'll revisit that tonight, because it was so dense and daunting, and by the end, long. This made us want to go back and revisit it, because this was such an unbelievable display of that classic New Japan Resurgence style, with these volume counters and just dizzying reversals and these like outrageous, how have you thought to counter that move with this move? It makes all the sense in the world, but you're the one clever enough to think about it. All of those dramatic swings and momentum. This felt like there will be a lot better matches. That meant more at the time as well. But this felt, in the moment, as good as all of that. Like, there was 5 minutes at the end where it was just preposterous, the stuff that they were doing in there and how much they were getting out of it. And just, oh my God, it felt like I was getting repeatedly smacked in the face, like gob smacked over and over and over and over again. And I'll say this as well. There was another one that was excellent as well later in the night. It's become a pretty easy shortcut to a crowd reaction. Other than Kenny Omega, hurt. Other than Kenny Omega, kicking out of Ospreay's One-Winged Angel, where it's like, you don't do that to me. You don't do that move to me, dickhead. Other than that, I thought this was the most earned and logical use of the one-count kick-out that I can remember in ages, and it was electrifying as a result.
You did 2 on the last pay-per-view, and we were like, don't do it on the same thing. Or was that
Yeah,
Dynamite?
just keep doing it. It obviously works, and this was awesome. Because the story that they've been telling, too long, but oh my God, this will be remembered fondly on the back of what this instant classic of a match, right? The story that they're telling is that Okada has kind of been... He's been withering in his sort of like, oh God, Takeshita, you like him? I mean, I'm Kazuchika Okada. He's no threat to me. Deep down, he's thinking, oh God, he's a threat to me. I'm going to relentlessly neg him and be an arsehole so that he never feels like he's got the agency to actually step up and take this from me, because this guy's got the capacity to do it. The thing with Okada is I would describe him as Triple H ... only good, and that he takes the philosophies beloved by Triple H of like, just when you think you can't get any slower, go slower. Take more time, if anything, to build this match, to sort of like display your dominance over this pitiful opponent. Take ages doing it and have a title defense. And during all of those title defenses, just take your sweet time displaying your mastery over your opponent, because when it gets to 50-50 and they start to give Okada that match, it's like, oh my God, something momentous is happening. The great Okada is starting to finally get toppled. And then every single time Okada can pinpoint that exact feeling of, oh my God, someone's going to beat Okada. No, dropkick. He was amazing at this for the longest time. That approach always will win, because he's absolutely amazing. And when he was frantically showing ass at this cloudburst of just move, 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 one of which, by the way, that's sort of like one-armed German gimmick. It's like, are you taking the piss with how good you are at the minute? It is a joke. So the idea that Kazuchika Okada, he did a similar thing against Tana at the Tanahashi retirement show earlier this year, where it's like he did the Ernest Rainmaker pose as if to say, I can't be smiling, obnoxious dickhead Kazuchika Okada. I'm in real bother. I'm going to have to actually take it seriously. So for him to do the most impassioned, adrenaline, defiant spot there is in pro wrestling, of all people, for Okada to do it makes it mean something. He is a genius at pro wrestling, and the last 5 minutes in particular of this match were just blow away incredible. His character work, firing up at the perfect time to tell people, even before the finish, there has been a change in the guard here, was magnificent. Here's the thing as well. This must have been incredible. There will be no changing of the guard. Konosuke Takeshita has got one of the 4 secondary men's singles titles. Takeshita has just won that. Okada will never be the 2017 to 2018. You cannot beat him, Okada, ever again. There was a bit of play along necessary to get into the story, but the action was so out of this world great that it felt like, in that moment, all right, Takeshita's the new biggest star in pro wrestling. It isn't. In an AEW, that's not how it's going to work. Prepared to be mildly disappointment by the follow-up over the next month. In this moment, it felt like it, because it was just so incredibly well worked.
Yeah, so, like, this was so on the nose with its attempt to recreate that New Japan type of match that it's more impressive that it was as good as it was.
I know, they were kind of taking the piss out of you.
You know, like, when you get these tribute matches or tribute spots or even tribute wrestlers sometimes, well, that's going to count against you eventually, because people are just thinking, yeah, but it's not the original. And I just got completely lost in this becoming its own original. I was more impressed about how incredible it got, because you could argue, well, it did have that slow start and it did take a little while to get going, but I never really felt that.
That's how it works with Okada.
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes never work unless he is Triple H ... only good.
Yeah, I think I watched him get worse at that and thus lost a bit of faith in the model of what Okada was, knowing that that was what he used to opt into, but love it when he was the
all over their first match, by the way.
Yeah, oh God,
From
like
a great height.
Orders of magnitude. Like, and the feud has felt out of gas on telly. And again, AEW, right? I know there was a Dynamite the other week that I wasn't as high on maybe as consensus, or just in general, I thought it was fine. Like, I think I maintain that. I'm not so sure where AEW is at as a product in 2026 as the dysfunctional weekly wrestling TV model. But this storyline for me, 48 hours ago, was an example of that. It was like, you've been patient to a fault. You've slept on things a little bit. The stuff in the building in these Dynamites is not as hot as it was for these two. People aren't laughing at the segments like they used to. None of it is as hot as it was. And you had a match and it kind of under-delivered. So we kind of need to get this one out of the way so we can move on to something else between the two of them. And then you arrive at the pay-per-view where the ultimate and absolute faith has been put in the, like, elite, no pun intended, tier wrestlers to put in one of their great nights. And they do it, and as Sidge points out, so often in wrestling, this will be what this is remembered for. And they fed it straight onto the Fletcher thing. So this is you were kind of told, definitive end of Okada Takeshita. And you're left going, right, well, that was a tippy-toppy feud, ultimately. There was the making of Takeshita. When I know I sat 3 weeks where I was like, they've lost it.
Yeah.
I'm bored of it. Like, I'm not saying Tony Khan's right about everything, but increasingly these pay-per-views validate a lot of the weekly being knowingly disposable. You know, that, like, Dynamite will offer you this many great matches, and often we'll sit here and criticize those great matches at the expense of a promo, at the expense of, like, an angle that we all enjoy or whatever. But, like, when the payoff's this, maybe that's the point. You know, they sell well. People buy these shows, the tickets, the attendances. It's the one, like, stable force for good in AEW's year, regardless of what else is happening.
Their TV viewer to pay-per-view buyer conversion ratio is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there's a good reason for that.
Happy to see Carl Fletcher back as well.
Yeah.
Even if he was a prick to his supposed mate.
thing is with AEW, I mean, I've not listened to Observer Radio or really kept up, but they've got previous with doing something on a pay-per-view just this year, in fact. And it's like, oh, there's no real plan for that. We just decided to do it. So I don't know if Fletcher's going to be back anytime soon.
That's a good point, yeah. I assumed seeing him there and doing stuff physically, but yeah, there was certainly the window that I perceived for Kyle was he's not going to make it to All In, let alone before the end of May.
I like that he turned. I like there was so much indicating that a babyface turn was coming Fletcher's way, and I'm glad that they haven't just settled with that right now. I think it shows a bit of guts and a bit more determination.
Still pretty young as well, you know.
Yeah, injuries are never a great thing, but we talk a lot about wrestlers having breaks, and he was on the verge of getting like sucked into a vortex or something. Kyle Fletcher was, and that's gone now. That's you don't need to worry about that now.
Next match was the opening match in the Women's Owen, the tournament quarterfinal between the ROH Women's Champion Athena and Mina Shirakawa, who I thought gave a good account of herself here, because I think me and Sidge both went in going, well, Athena has to win. But they told the story of Mina going after the knee after Athena crashed into the ring steps on the outside, and Mina got some good near falls in there and good submission attempts. In the end, Athena, though, tombstone into the O-face. And yeah, the right call for Athena to advance.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched this thinking, what are we doing? She is unbelievable. She is unbelievable. She needs to be featured way more prominently on the show that matters, in the company, if you want to call it that matters. Like, she is such an asset, because I watched this thinking, well, that's obviously why she's the ROH champion, because I think I'm paraphrasing, I think it's a Bret Hart quote, or a philosophy at least, of the job of the champion is to elevate the challenger to your level for one night and then go again and go again and go again. Like, she can make people believe in her opponents for one night, which you have to do to create a dramatic match without losing any bit of heat, or her aura is, she is the best, and that's why she's won. It never feels like this, like, ratio of offense or a trade-off. Just felt like she got pushed to a limit a bit. Like, without being a classic match or anything, if you've missed this pay-per-view, you could probably skip this one if your time is at a premium. But I thought, as an individual performance, I thought Athena was great here. I love the way she bumps. She's got that bumping style that's like, it feels like it's physically impossible. You ever seen like Twitter clips of like professional stunt people doing the rounds of them getting shot?
Yeah. Or like playing zombies or whatever.
Yeah, them getting shot and like doing like a flapper. She looks like she has just died mid-impact and then fallen down dead. She's got this incredible signature bumping style that I think is magnificent, especially as someone who has to play the role of, oh, you're getting beat this week. She doesn't. Like, she should be in AEW.
Yeah, like, she was. I enjoyed this, but I was almost applying a different context to it to the rest of the show, and I actually think some of the crowd were as well. This was far from quiet, because nothing on the show was quiet, but it was obviously, I say obviously, it shouldn't be obvious, but it was obviously the quietest thing on the whole show.
Carter's going to rock your dome, and then the women come out.
Yeah, like,
that's how it works.
Athena, it's so weird, right? Because there she is with 1,200 plus days holding onto a belt, and yet watching her work makes a bit of a mockery of the idea there's a meritocracy. You know, she's got this world title, she's got this belt. Oh, well, here's a meritocracy. She's the forever champion, but we all know what that represents versus where everybody else is on this card. So it's an odd. Everything sits uneasily about watching Athena, doesn't it? Because she either turns upon Dynamite to lose sometimes inexplicably, or wins in a situation like this. And in both cases, you're sort of scratching your head, being like, why is she not somewhere else? You know, if she's so brilliant, what the hell are we doing here? And if she finally gets a shot and then loses, how's she got this belt for 1,000 odd days? They've booked her into a corner, and again, I'm not suspicious. That's not the word. I do speculate with, you know, no knowledge of any situation. What if a conversation has been had and that's what she wants as much as anything else?
Yeah.
You just don't know, right? Because for it to go on this long, and she's built up her own sort of unique legacy nonetheless with this reign, maybe that's exactly what she wants, and she's just a slot-in figure in Dynamite. But it's hard.
It's not John Moxley. Tell her.
Yeah.
Do something more important.
It's hard then to watch this and be like, Well, yeah, that was exactly as great as I expected it to be, because you never quite know the dynamic of how she fits into the dynamic. All I do know is that going into this, you knew it was going to be the quietest match on the show. It was going to be tough to necessarily get the audience for. So it would be somebody pretty political to take the next spot on the card, wouldn't it?
It was Jon Moxley versus a newcomer, Kyle O'Reilly, challenging for the Continental title.
We've got to be nice to Jim Ross.
No limit, no time limit match this after the showing on Dynamite. Full disclosure here, this show is called Double or Nothing. I opted for nothing on this and just skipped to the finish. I just couldn't be arsed. They burnt any goodwill I had toward this match was gone after Dynamite this week.
I didn't see the Dynamite match, so maybe I've got a bit more generosity to this one. I thought this kicked ass.
This kicked ass. The Dynamite match was really good as well. I just couldn't be arsed with it. I philosophically didn't like the idea when I knew where it was going and the timing of arts before the pay-per-view. Are they going to Takeshita that bitch? He's literally told this story twice now. I've been taking my limit in a draw on TV, so I must end at the pay-per-view. What I liked about the TV match was the idea that Moxley didn't think he could beat Kyle O'Reilly, so he was just like, I was going to work the midsection, make sure that he's too winded to beat me, even though I'm kind of scared because I can't beat him. The TV match was, it's Jon Moxley. He's such an arsehole. It's worked out. When I say an arsehole, I'm joking, of course. He's like seemingly one of pro wrestling's good eggs who wants to do good. That's why they call him Jonathan Good. It's not called Jonathan Bad, is he?
He sure isn't.
This match was Jonathan Good, I'll tell you that. It was, I don't know, he's gotten it right at times.
Yeah, this was really strong.
Kicks each other's ass.
This is why you book him. You wouldn't know, you didn't watch it.
From what I read. I watched the bit at the end where he ate a stomp, hit a cutter, and then went for the choke after a clothesline, I think. You got the tease of a submission by Mox for the ankle lock. Obviously, they'd already revisited early on, but in the end, grapevine ankle lock to cool Kyle O'Reilly, and he taps out.
The double submission as the physical manifestation of what this feud is, I thought was just a really lovely touch. Like, would Moxley dare just tap there? It'd be like, I get you the same line, it's draw. So draw. Winner leaves the belt, so I win. Like, would he claim that as his, I'll never beat you properly, but I'll beat you this way because you can't get the belt off me? I thought it was a couple of lovely little, I don't know, like we have fun being cynical about Jon Moxley, but if we're just being completely earnest in any wrestling match where the story is wrestler A can't beat wrestler B, to come up with the spots they did in this match to illustrate that, I thought was very nice indeed.
Yeah, he's a very artful pro wrestler.
Yeah,
Jon Moxley.
Really nicely constructed this. Again, I didn't see a Dynamite match, so I've not got as much of it fresh. Like, the commentators were telling the story of it through the body of this match, so it's obviously it's built to another one, so I like that. But this over-delivered for me, this.
Over-delivered big time. To be honest, I was completely wrong. And that's the thing about when I'm wrong, is that because I'm usually cynical, I enjoy being wrong because it means I've had a nice time in spite of myself and the way my stupid brain works. Like, I thought this would be a little bit too grapply and attritional and, like, understated to work in this setting. And then when they were on their knees, just rifling forearms at each other, these fans were baying for blood. It obviously worked. It was modified in a way that worked, and they projected it, and maybe a little bit more histrionic than some of their earlier stuff. But you do that on the pay-per-view stage, don't you? I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed this. I thought it was really strong bit of business.
I really like the scheduling, though, of having him win. The Death Riders there celebrate, and they go to leave through the crowd, and who appears? But Will Ospreay's there, obviously, to take on Samoa Joe in his Owen Hart Foundation tournament quarterfinal. Ospreay didn't hang about, did he? Jumping Joe, showing he's learning from Moxley. But Joe also has learned that Will Ospreay's had neck problems, so tried to end his career. Basically, he won an exchange of forearms after going after the neck. Ospreay tries to sort of play Joe's game, but just gets battered by him here. Joe teased a muscle buster. They got broken up. Ospreay stomped on Joe's arm. He hit a handspring kick to the head for a 2 count. But as he goes for the Os cutter, Joe walks away.
Oh my God.
We did call it.
You did?
Anyway, after Joe's in control and further beating down Will Ospreay. He fires back up. He hits a Styles Clash for a 2 count.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Goosebumps off that reaction.
Aye.
Every member of the crowd.
Must have been watching Michin, Saturday night's main event.
Shut up, man.
I thought that too.
I thought this was... Oh, he is the guy.
Yeah.
He is the guy for that reaction to that spot.
It's a relatively, maybe it's not, and we just had less of a frame of reference, but it's a relatively new genre of match, the almost like-for-like tribute spots thing. Dax and Punk and a few others did it with Brett to such an extent that Hangman started taking the piss. And it's probably right to do so as well. Like, and then you had something like...
Heard here first, folks. Hangman Page was right.
I mean, it's one thing to be right, but Wilbourn's got more chance of winning the AEW World title.
This is true. This is true.
More
Eddie Howe's got more chance of winning the freaking World title.
Like what was a recent love letter one that sort of Styles and Cena, kind of a unique example of it, done with the best of intentions and all that kind of. You can entertain a crowd with that now, with people knowing the references and loving the fact that they know the references, and it can be great and fun, but it does make it lightweight because you are actively saying, "This is a show. That was a show. I like the show. Now I'm in the show." This was body of the match stuff.
Yeah.
This was...
He didn't do anything that wouldn't have not made sense or
Yeah.
he shouldn't have tried to do as a pro wrestler against an opponent of that size.
He found a way to wear his influences on his sleeve really lovingly, but we were talking about for some reason, I can't remember why, the Unbreakable Three-Way recently, and there was a lot of Ospreys, a guy that just loves AJ Styles and TNA and whatever, to be like, yeah, but they were trying to beat Samoa Joe when they were doing that, so
Yeah.
I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Like, it never felt like it was just for the show of it.
Yeah.
You know, love that.
Ospreay hit a hidden blade, but I think he still had the elbow pad on. He took it off and loaded up for another one. Ran into a huge power slam. An attempt at a coquina clutch gets countered, but Joe puts him down, grabs it again. We get the arm drops, but on the third one, Ospreay grabs the ropes.
Sorry, I need to interject in case I forget to mention this in my review. That second arm drop, it's like, how do you play unconscious? So well. It looked like he was dead. To the point where, like, I've seen that spot a million times. I'm 40 years old. I thought, all right, that's it.
And he's losing a lot at the moment as well.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, that's it. He's done. Like, he's
I forgot that
unbelievable.
they had to do the 3 arm drops and thought they were just doing the 1. And I went,
Because the first one was so,
Yeah.
like, emphatic.
Joe goes for another muscle buster that gets countered. Hidden blade. That only gets 1, though. So instead, he takes the back of Joe's head off with another hidden blade.
Second one, oh my God.
It's for the 1, 2, 3.
Where's his brains gone? Scrambled. This match was awesome. This match was, that's the good match greeting.
Doorbell.
That's a good match, Doorbell.
Of course.
Who on earth's going to get the door with the 3 of us in here? That's the question.
This is it, I know. This is absolutely fantastic pro wrestling, right? I've got to take that Hamflett's going to enjoy. I understand why people love Samoa Joe. I really still rate him on his best days. And I'm with people. Like, how could you watch prime ROH Samoa Joe and not love him and how much of a badass he was? I think that sentimentality and the fact that Joe is like a cool wrestler that people feel cool for liking clouds people's judgments, right? Quickly name your top 10 Samoa Joe AEW matches. I think by 4 or 5, you go, oh, that one was good. Samoa Joe.
This Darby and Punk.
Yep. This Darby Punk, the Eddie Kingston one late last year was really strong as well.
Can't remember that one. Probably, I can imagine why
class.
it would have worked there.
Samoa Joe, and I'm thinking the Hangman Page matches stick out for this specific problem. The Swerve title win one. He wrestles like he's wrestling in like 32 Celsius heat. I don't know what the Fahrenheit is, but there's such a labored, stodgy, it's taken him a while to do things, quality to his matches that no one except us is almost like willing to admit.
Yeah.
Like the Hangman series last year was like, God, it's taken a while. And I'm not necessarily saying, oh, slows automatically worse, and this is AEW, and I just like party matches and da-da-da, but they just feel like stodgy and they drag a bit.
Greg Valentine takes 20 minutes to fucking warm up.
Yes, that kind of thing.
90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
90
He
degrees.
wrestles, and it's not just the sweat, it's the laboring and the movement, where the whole point about Joe is that he's meant to feel like this guy who, well, Joe's going to kill you, like he's going to kill you. It just feels like it's a struggle at times to watch and for him to do it, and this was none of that. Absolutely not. And it's just funny how Joe is this revered wrestler amongst the ball knowers, the type of people who don't like the Young Bucks or Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega or that type of wrestler or wrestling. You put Joe in there against Ospreay, and he has arguably his best ever night in an AEW ring. And it's funny that, innit? Because Will Ospreay is, in many people's eyes, the best wrestler in the world. The people who hate him say that it's sugar rush wrestling, empty calories. He makes contrived, convoluted decisions to arrive at pops, and they think it's soulless or whatever. This was absolutely great selling, storytelling. Every second of the match mattered and made sense. And because it's Ospreay and he's just so, like, fantastic at crafting these things, there's not a lull in an Ospreay match. And some people would say that's for better and for worse. This is better. Not a single lull. Every second counted. I cannot tell you how many barricade spots or railing spots I've seen in this a modern era defined by excess. I don't think that's remotely controversial. When he had the coquina clutch and he was like, you know what, probably a bit early for that. I need to wear him down first. What I'll do is I'll grab him by like the chest or the neck or the face or whatever and just smash the back of his head against that barricade. That bump was frightening. It was terrifying. It set the tone for the match. Ospreay picked and chose his moments to fight from underneath and to make those comebacks to perfection. But it's Joe. Rarely has he looked like such a monster, right? Because Ospreay is really good, and no one's going to revoke your I Know Ball license if you just admit it. It's pathetic the way some people go on, to the point where Joe was depicted as such a monster, so good at just being Joe. The Joe that, just like you remember him in that moment, that again, in addition to, that's probably the best barricade spot I've seen in forever, and it didn't get destroyed. And in fact, it was probably 100 times better for it not being destroyed. But that, the way he's moved his arms physically, the physical act of moving that arm, that's unbelievable work, that. And I mean work in the truest definition. Like, how do you make your body... Ospreay is the ultimate, I don't know how you make your body do that wrestler. Possibly ever, just for how physically and athletically spectacular he is. So it's the opposite. It was the opposite of athleticism, because you're just trying to make yourself look not just unathletic, but dead.
Yeah.
Unconscious. And he's still like the best in the world at that.
Could you argue that's like even more so that's storytelling from Will Ospreay? Because you would imagine...
I just made that exact argument.
No, I'm saying, would you
Yeah.
you imagine at the moment the character he's playing, he's experiencing that on the reg with this Death Ground nonsense with the Death Riders. He's probably put into spots like that, if you imagine all of this is real. Like, so he's now learned how to live with that significant amount of pain, the near-death thing, and now he's applying it in his matches. Like, Moxley can lay claim on that specific... We're talking about how well he performed that, but Moxley in character can lay claim to how he could actually do it and survive it as part of this, I'm rounding you to be the best version of yourself sort of thing. It's in service of this Will Ospreay run, let alone just the fact that it was so well performed that you bought him losing to Joe here. Like,
I'll tell you what, run it back. Ospreay's going to win that world title this year. Well, he should. It'd be ridiculous if he doesn't. This got me so fired up about potential title rings. At this point, having held it twice, Joe could easily be the Kane. The first, and he's a draw as well as Joe. People love him still. Like, this could be the first title defense for Ospreay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Ospreay. He's going to be the perfect world champion because he simply is incapable of having a bad match.
It was another one for me here where, I mean, my favorite thing in all of wrestling, I think it probably is the absolute nailed on certainty that you are watching somebody that is the guy, but they're not quite yet crowned. It's the best bit. It's the best bit of all of this. Like, pick your favourite main eventer of the last 20, 30 years, and those last 3 or 4 months when it's a dead cert, but you just haven't seen the crowning yet. It's magic. You cannot wait to see them again. Ospreay's been that for long enough, and in AEW, one of the ways in which you cement yourself as the guy, like Darby Allin did for the longest time, is make sure that you go out there and you can make magic with just about anyone, and a different kind of magic as well. And it's, you have to give him immense credit for this. Smojo's simply not got the numbers to post in AEW. Yes, he can be there on a great night with a great opponent, but it's not going to be every night. Ospreay is. Ospreay is that consistent guy. And again, this made me think of like the AEW pay-per-view product versus the AEW TV product, because I don't think this Death Rider stuff is working all the way through. I think elements of it are, and elements of it are either too cheesy in the way that they're produced, or simply don't hold together because Jon Moxley sort of loses the thread when he's thinking about his own booking. So there's a lot. It's not perfect, this Jon Moxley stuff with Will Ospreay, but you get to this stage and an even bigger one down the line when he has the final and when he has Wembley, and you know for certain it's going to pay off and it's going to work and it's going to feel good and whatever. Like, this is magic. It doesn't come around all the time where that guy's on that trajectory and it's going to happen, and they continue to justify it. There's not a single misstep. Watching a bloody Becky Lynch promo from like, I remember how awful half of that stuff was before she actually got to WrestleMania, and yet when somebody's unassailable, you're like, they're getting through it. Yeah. They're surviving this. Like Will Ospreay, there's nothing that bad within the Death Rider story that can possibly derail this. Yeah. It's brilliant.
And possibly a tease of who Ospreay could face in the final of the Owen came next. It was Swerve versus ROH champion Bandido. The other side's quarterfinal.
Really say?
I think this is my match of the year.
Really?
Like,
wow.
I was sat questioning if I loved this even more than Punk and Roman. I watched it, and then I was watching bits of it back on the train this morning, trying to decide. And I don't know yet.
It's absurd. This.
I love Punk and Roman. My match of the night, and I'll
press the button for you.
Oh my god.
Bandido has become the latest addition to the. Well, so he's on the whiteboard for the pay-per-view, has to have a singles match.
Yeah.
There's always like the order can change, but he's for me now a guy that cannot be missed on these shows. Again, the weird ROH meritocracy thing, he's a world champion, but at this point you're ruffling his hair for that and wanting to get on with proper stuff.
I could not get over that standing on the shoulders house call, basically, that
Swerve needed this.
Yeah, I've missed that feeling of him. What was you used to say, like, he's got that unconventional. It's like set his default style to unconventional. But the magic of when he finds chemistry with a wrestler elevates his matches beyond almost. I remember the first Hangman one, the pretty much straight up wrestling match. It was my favourite thing that night as well, because I was like, oh, you found somebody that works really well with you. And it's happened again, and it differentiates its stuff from. That's why he got made, because he could do this with certain wrestlers, and it was like separated his stuff from everybody else's. Yeah.
He also got a 2 count because he hit a swerve stomp after that, standing on his shoulders, hitting a house call.
The distance he got on that as well.
Really well shot, that one as well. Doesn't always look like it kills a guy, and it did here.
Now, obviously, the story of the match was Bandido and his suffering with his neck. Not so much that he wasn't able to poison Rana Swerve out to the floor.
Back to back, neck stuff, another one. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. It shot.
No.
Didn't matter at all.
Great 21 plex when they were back inside as well, but Bandido's neck gives out. He's twitching. It looked horrible. Really good sell job here.
He made his bones crumble inside his body. Like the way his neck folded twice in such a way. Oh no! Like you're trying to prop him up yourself. Like
he's a freak, man. He's simply too good.
They work that as well. I know that 21 plex isn't for me. Murray talking about he doesn't like it as a move. It asks for a lot sometimes. Yeah. They worked up to it.
It was like climbing up via the ropes, wasn't he? He just sort of stood there.
He'd had a counter for it beforehand. It was built. It was really earned.
It's almost as if Bandido has realised I've got one flaw in my game, and it's quite an important one because it's that finish. And the way that he's sort of tweaked it and modified it and built logical spots around it this year has been really impressive.
One I remember recently.
Yeah, the deadlift one as well.
Andrade. Yeah, it was coming.
God.
In the end, though, he loads it up again, but gets reversed into a vertebraker. And A huge house call.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Jesus.
A huge house call from Swerve wins the match.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Like, you are lucky in pre-AEW, you're lucky to see, like, one spot per show where you're like, Jesus Christ, that's one of the best things I've ever seen. This match had at least 2 of them. It's like, that's one of the best things I might have ever seen in a pro wrestling ring or in a pro wrestling match. I cannot believe... I tell you, man, one of my favorite things is ideas. I just love ideas, something you just don't see every day in an increasingly homogenized wrestling landscape. This had at least 3 brand new ideas where I'm like, that has just blown my tits smooth off. Unbelievable. Great sense of urgency. This Owen Cup already is phenomenal, and that's not a hyperbole either. So it wasn't just like, right, we've got 3 great ideas. Let's build a match around those ideas. This felt like urgent, competitive tournament wrestling. This also felt like Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland's got this thing where he likes to keep receipts, apparently, where if people will tweet something about him, he'll reply 2 months later when he's done something that disproves it and goes, "Where are you now, dickhead?" I just likes he's driven by that defiance.
All of his bookmarks are just potential murders.
Yeah, exactly. This match, again, without trying too hard, felt like, oh, they don't think I'm very good anymore, or they think the heel turn hasn't worked, or they don't see me in that bracket of top stars in AEW. Idiots. Watch this. Fantastic.
Sorry, I'm sounding like such a broken record here. I think some of these segments have stunk with this Swerve Bandido stuff, to be honest, and look how little it's mattered now.
Did you watch Dynamite last week when you were off?
No, I just caught bits of it.
Was it the Brawl we reviewed where it was like, this is crap?
Yes.
Followed.
They threw a chair at each other and they didn't really know what to do. Yeah.
Because it followed this Briscoe Ciampa really, really violent no DQ match. And again, it's a Tony Khan problem. He followed that match. It was gross, really violent, the blood everywhere. And then they followed that up with a segment between Bandido and Swerve to set up this match where I was like, oh, they might do a move with a chair on each other. So I just watched that for 15 friggin' minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on the build not being good, but my God.
I can't say enough good things about both of them here. I found this electrifying. It made me think of when you've kind of really getting into wrestling and you know
wasn't too long either, this.
No.
And maybe that's another...
There was some good match times on the show, I felt. I don't know. I haven't checked them, but nothing felt like it was sticking around too long. When you're getting into wrestling
we'll see.
I'm starting to work out what I think the match, when you start to watch it forensically and you realise all your other mates have just gone off it and gotten something else, but you like it more than everybody else. And Brett's a guy that we both go to, but counter wrestling, you kind of don't forget your first really great counters, do you?
Yeah.
Or your really great innovative counters. I would argue, Zack Sabre Jr. was such a discovery for so many people because he introduced so many per match. So it was what the hell's he just done there? And it was for a while, you couldn't get bored of watching Zack Sabre Jr., could you, until you felt like you'd seen it all. That, you mentioned about, ideas. In the back, is he just come here a minute? Oh, what are you thinking? I was going to stand vertically on his shoulder. What? Yeah. I mean, we should practice it at least once, just in case it doesn't come off in the match, but that's what I'm thinking. Are you high?
I know.
He's like, no, it's this match is going to have 2 or 3 counters. It's going to show that, you are not quite prepared for me, but I want it to be so impressive that you're going to remain over because you cannot have done your homework for me.
Yeah.
Just basically sort of stood pencil-like on your shoulder. All right, we'll give that a go then. And he's a man. Bandido's this. He's one of my favorite wrestlers when I really think about it.
He's class.
I said this about the Brodito tag team. The secret hidden twist to Brodito was it made you look like it was a muscle guy in a lucha, but Bandido was a muscle guy all along. And he's such an underrated base, Bandido, because of the type of offense he does. So I don't imagine Swerve can stand on everybody's shoulders, but Bandido, of course he can. What a wonderful sort of understanding from both men of what each other were capable of. Their chemistry. I want this again. I need another go of these two. And again, Swerve, I think he's sometimes defined by the chemistry he has with wrestlers. Swervey! Hangman, amazing chemistry. Bandido, now. Ospreay, as partners and what's to come. So much of what he did in the Indies was about, you could tell, the best opponents that he could work with and stuff. He is an amazing pro wrestler, but sometimes it doesn't. This isn't to bury him. Needs somebody to bring that out of him.
Yeah.
And this was nice to see this again.
In terms of timings, opening match 19 minutes 35 seconds. Takeshita Okada 19, Athena Mina 11, Mox Kyle 18:45. So they got it done within the time if it had been a time limit. Ospreay Joe 14 minutes basically. Swerve Bandito 15. This women's match 14 as well. So yeah, good.
This is
timings.
amazing.
This is getting punchy. This.
Yeah.
Like,
20 minutes on the board backstage or something, they're all left to pay a fine. If that's fun, hearing those numbers is so encouraging.
Only the last 2 matches went over 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's how it should be. God damn it.
But now we move on to the rich history of women's four-ways.
This is why they do them.
The AEW Women's World Title. It was the champion Tekla versus Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander. Obviously, Stat and Shida have got a great deal of history going into this. They early on worked together as a team, but couldn't coexist by the end. We get to a point where everyone's on the floor and Tekla hit a huge dive onto the pile to put everyone down. And we get that spot where everyone comes in and hits their moves. There's a Black Widow to Hayter, or an attempt at it, sorry, who gets reversed into Haterade. Shida breaks that up at 2, hits a Falcon Arrow, tries to grab Jamie Hayter's leg, but Stat cuts that off. Saturday Night Fever on Hayter, but Shida's in there with a kendo stick to stop her former friend now, winning back the world title. And Tekla knocks Shida outside, stomps Statlander, and retains her title. I was very happy about this because it felt like one of the few times that I thought that could be switched in a 4-way, and Tekla might not be carrying it into All In.
She has to.
Feels...
She's the one who's got the most over. She absolutely has to carry that into All In, and she is going to at this point. Yeah. She's not where Toni Storm was. You could make a comparison with her and Mercedes in terms of the Mercedes run. I honestly think at least 80% of those matches went 5 minutes too long. I'm not in a rush to go back and watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Tekla's done without the name value going into AEW has been remarkable, realistically. I don't want to, again, pat my own back, jerk my own gag too much, but there's a reason why promoters book 4-way matches. There's a reason why this promoter books 4-way matches. When you don't give a story adequate or interesting TV time, the way a 4-way match works is that there is simply too much going on to grow bored. You don't have to be impatiently watching this match that you don't really care about because it's been under-promoted. You don't really have to just wait, arms folded for it to build and da-da-da-da-da. There's simply too much going on to get bored. It's a cheat code. It's probably not good enough. I'd rather see something as weighty as Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné All in Texas, a big show than this. But it worked. It was the perfect time. The action was really well done. The crowd were prepared to go along with Statlander. It's a big difference maker, even though she didn't really get that treatment during her reign. People are banging to Tekla. Some really cool creative spots here as well, like the spider walk. Nope, get over here. Into that was incredible. And what was it? The Saturday Night Fever attempt. Yeah. Excellent. This is exactly how I thought it was going to go. But you just saves and everything. Just 4-way matches, like, they're really good. I'm surprised that promoters don't do them more often on this basis.
It resembled a really good indie match to me. And I mean that as a compliment. You go to an indie show and there'll be certain people there that go to every single indie show, know all the stories of all these wrestlers. And then there's some that have just gone for the night. And 4-ways like this exist where the work is so tight. There's good snap constantly that you end up leaving standing more chance of seeing what those wrestlers, you Google them after the fact because 4-way was really good. They were all great in that, you know. There's one sort of obvious star or obvious focused upon detail. In this case, it was 2 really because it was Tekla and then there was the Shida and Statlander breakdown in relations. It's light work compared to the actual match, which has to be really good for any of this to land. Like Tekla had a really great night here. The presentation was the tell that she was, the tell that she was going to win, that this wasn't really ever in doubt, you know, like this has not been a captivating story. She's the champion of a division where nobody can really get together to even beat her, you know, but she got that special entrance and she's walking out the ring and there's like flames and pyro everywhere and like the spider itself has been part of it. It's like her insignia. She's gotten over with it. You mentioned about like Mercedes and Toni as the comparisons. There's no shame in being third on that podium either, and she is. Like they're kind of they've
Baker.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. That's fair point. But like, I suppose in terms of like right now,
Yeah, last couple of years.
it's really cool that she's in this spot and she doesn't at all look phased by it. And with you,
She relishes it?
yeah, you gotta take her into All In. Bare minimum, I'm not seeing a challenger that I'd actually want to beat her at the moment, but it's just All In. So you imagine it to be the night that a babyface comes good. But I'm looking at this division and she's clearing people at the moment.
And that's people need to be built, but they can't because matches like this are so much of a luxury.
Yeah.
So I had a problem with it and thought it was really well done at the same time.
Right, we get to Stadium Stampede now. I'll just call them Team Jericho and Team Ricochet to make things easier. I think that's vaguely the names they were going by. Team Jericho being Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, and the Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Jungle Jack Perry. They got sort of a Smoking Aces style intro, complete with Kenny Omega trying to look cool smoking a cigar.
That was incredible.
I love that so much.
That was incredible.
They all had a bit with the tennis ball, didn't they? And then
yes,
little Bill's Kenny's thing. Loved it.
Versus Team Ricochet, that being the Demand, Andrade, the Dogs, David Finlay and Clark Connors, and of course Mark Davis, who's got a great ass and one eye. Now after this match, hope he's all right. Big brawl to start, obviously, with the amount of people in this match, and we get the quadruple screens, and I was like, please no, I can't look at everything at the same time. But very early on, it was down to sort of like, look here, this is what we're doing here. Early on,
I like AEW's use of that. By the way, it's only ever, when you think about it, it's only ever a scene setter. WCW would do it and be like, watch everything, idiot. This is awful. Stop this. But AEW do it to make a point once about how this is going to feel.
Yeah.
And then they don't really revisit it. I think they did a 4Z, then a tour, maybe once. And it's like, that's fine. I can
just to show someone going into the back or whatever, Toa Leona wrecked everybody early on and hit a Samoan drop to both members of the Young Bucks and Jack Perry at the same time. That was extraordinary. And Ricochet did a huge shooting star onto a pile of men on the outside to allow the Demand and Team Ricochet to kind of pose for a second. They were still in control right up until the point that, Leona grabbed an abdominal stretch on Omega, and that stretched out of the ring with the, pull, someone's normally just giving a hand off the apron. That stretched down the aisle, but when that backfired, boy, did it backfire for the heels here.
I think that's funny.
I liked it.
A 7-man abdominal stretch and a guy with diverticulitis. I think it's quite a funny bit.
I will say, when the first start, I'm like, what are we doing an abdominal stretch for in this type of match? And then I was like, right, okay, very good.
They do I don't like it. It's still awkward from the moment they did it on Dynamite. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. But in the end, they do their 4 Hurricane Ranas, quadruple submission attempt. Jack Perry hit Mark Davis with a vacuum cleaner, I think. It's one of those ones where it's just a huge plume of smoke and dust and what have you. There's tables being set up by the Bucks. Hurt Syndicate, Gates of Agony, brawl to the back. They're fighting out there. There's Toa Leona's Bishop Quine. There's Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. At one point, Bobby Lashley's knocked out and he's like, he turns and looks. And there's a creepy Leo Rush right next to him who jumps on, I think, Toa Leona's back.
Massively did not what this was. This was giving Money in the Bank 2020 for me. He's there. I thought if nothing
I don't know
else,
if I'm meant to send it to you, or is that just a look of disapproval?
Just keep talking.
Could he have done the Goblin mode version of Lashley, just to give us a little? Well, that's why they put them together, because it was just a bit. He's there. Who else is it? What?
Well, we cut back, and Andrade's kicking ass, and he's very popular with the ladies. Well, he goes to take a photo with a woman, but wait a second, that's Luchasaurus in a wig.
Oh, that was all right.
Jericho goes under the ring. You want to see what I've got? It's a big bag of balls. Tennis balls all over the ring. That still would suck, though, wouldn't it? The uneven nature of getting suplexed on that.
I guess they kind of just went everywhere.
Balls get broken up. No, the walls, sorry, not the balls, get broken up.
The balls of Jericho.
I'm still annoyed that they didn't use my line, Sidge.
I know.
I wanted to use a new balls, please line. Like with a low blow from Jericho. He could get it.
Could have done that a spot in the back, couldn't he?
I was hoping.
You did call that, though.
Yes, yeah. Davis and Perry brawl. This was when Davis lost his eye on a table. Andrade comes in, but he sends Satnam Singh face first into a cake, was it?
He was eating a cake.
Yeah, obviously.
Having a
Food
cake.
fight in the back. The Doigs and the Bucks fight on the stage. Clark Connors, no, don't cover him up. He gets put in a shopping cart with a trolley, with a trash can over his head to get super kicked. But then Toleone just sort of trucked the Young Bucks, didn't he, to take back over. Connors speared Lashley. Looked buzzed that he'd done that.
Good spear.
As you would. We cut to the back. Jericho is getting beaten up by Ricochet with a tennis racket. But Jericho opens the door, and there's Luther. What the hell are you doing here? Sir, here's your giant tennis racket that he beats up Ricochet with.
That big tennis racket's funny. Because it's for those, those tennis balls that are football sized.
Yes.
They've now made rackets that accommodate those, and that to me is funny.
Keep talking.
He fires tennis balls at Ricochet and just chucks them as well. Loads of super kicks back in the ring from the Young Bucks. We cut to the back. Mark Davis is running around somewhere. He finds a golf cart with a note on it, and then Jack Perry tries to kill him by driving his school bus through the golf cart, and another huge accident.
Just as well someone spotted a bit of paper in the tennis stadium with 14 people in the match.
There was a huge accident in the car park.
Omega V-triggers Andrade. Benjamin suplex Bishop Coin through a table. Omega hit a one-wing angel to Andrade off the apron through a table. Ricochet's basically all alone at this point. They all hit super kicks and finishers and stuff on him. It's down to, he's going to get the Judas effect, I think, from Jericho. But Bishop Coin makes the save, so he eats a septuple super kick.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right term? And the Lion Salt gives Jericho and Team Jericho the win in Stadium Stampede. I will say, quick caveat here, that I subsequently learnt in the aftermath of this, that the authorities said no blood and no crowd brawling, correct?
Indeed. I was actually a little bit perplexed when I saw people talking about the tone of the match and the reasons why it wasn't, the way they imagined it might be. Because I thought this was violent. Leon Funny. I was heartbroken by this. I was heartbroken by it.
Just thinking of a wrestler that is going to work a spring break one day. I'm Leon Funny, violent Leon. He gets into an absolute blood feud, but then he's just trying to do comedy wrestling, but he just ends up skewering a guy's head instead.
I hate's a strong word. I was really heartbroken by this. I will say everybody else seemed to like it. Everybody else seemed understanding of, all right, okay, well, they can't do X, Y, and Z in this stadium, so let's instead do it more in the spirit of the original Stadium Stampede and just play it for broad laughs instead. I didn't get that memo beforehand, though, this differentiation between Anarchy in the Arena and Stadium Stampede, because I watched Stadium Stampede at All In 2023, and it was really violent. Skewers in the head, broken glass. There's an awful waffle in there. That was just disgusting. There was some really brutal, brutal moments in that one. So I didn't realize we were having a laugh. Probably should have realized that. And I didn't laugh. I didn't think... It got to a point early where I thought, I knew within minutes I don't like this very much. And when I say heartbreaking, I mean, I love Anarchy in the Arena. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the best ideas in wrestling history. I love so much. I tell you, man, I love ideas. I hate boring. I hate solid. I hate, that was good. Bit soulless, and the crowd didn't care. But it was well done. I hate that. I want creativity. I want ideas. I want passion. I want people to care. I didn't laugh once. I didn't even go, well done, other than the abdominal stretch bit.
Yeah.
But when the first 5 minutes of this match happened and it was just dives onto people, people getting up, moving, just do the dive from the, that thing that Jim Ross hated, and Brandon Cutler and him had a beef or whatever, and Dax Sullivan was like, respect business, asshole, and respect Jim Ross. That was like, I know in this match, there's more latitude towards the standing around and then just waiting for a dive. Like Shelton Benjamin doing it was, whatever.
Yeah.
That it was the same thing for a long time. It was rapidly becoming charmless. And then the gags happened, and I had the exact same thought as you. It was like that Leo Rush Bobby Lashley interaction was like a bad WWE cinema match of 2020. Just violently unfunny. I was like, oh, what we're doing. The Satnam Singh bit, food fight. I was like, what the frig is this?
It was the guy.
Oh, is he Mr. Invincible? Is that right?
He's like an ROH guy or something.
He's the one I always see him on like reels and shorts and stuff. He basically says whatever show I'm at, I will act like it's the biggest show I've ever been on, and he's
all right. That's I didn't know.
I didn't know it
my
existed.
thing,
I could infer things, and I don't mind inferring things. I'm not an idiot. There's not a single spot where I thought, God almighty, that's hilarious, or that's so only in AEW could they come up with something that cool or funny or creative or whatever. Moments of like purported comedy where I'm actively cringing, and there was better action in the original Stadium Stampede. There was not a single thing in this match that was as good as Hangman Page doing a moonsault off the bar. Like, there was not a single thing that was as funny as Chris Jericho giving the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot the Judas effect. There's not a single moment where I thought that is so only AEW as a promotion.
Running away from a golf cart always makes me.
I thought this was rubbish. The more I talk about it and think about it, the more I thought this was actively rubbish. And I was heartbroken because the first Stadium Stampede meant almost everything possible to me at the time, considering how miserable I was and how much I needed it. Anarchy in the Arena, 1, 2 for the live memory, but 4 was one of the best matches I've seen in my life in terms of how great it was. This was actually crap, I thought. I was heartbroken.
Matt Rains says, quick tip for TK, if you can't legally run Stadium Stampede, don't run Stadium Stampede, which I think sums it up really.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing, though, I'm an advocate for ironic in a match like this, but if you can't do certain things, that should spark your imagination more. Take that as a challenge. I actually think I hated this,
I had a blast. Like,
people did, right? I think maybe the show was so awesome and it needed this amount of pure levity. That's fine, and it's got range and people liked it. I just thought it was seriously cringeworthy and unfunny at times. I was heartbroken by it.
I mean, do you know what? I kind of thought this was going to suck, so I think my expectations were exceeded. I was not looking forward to this match. I don't have the same love for the genre, because it couples them both, doesn't it? Stadium Stampede. I love Stadium Stampede 1 for the same reasons you do, and I think why the world loves it. Anarchy in the Arena 1 it was amazing. It was breathtakingly good. That's kind of about it in terms of the ones I love truly, live experience notwithstanding. I didn't even get that with the Wembley one. So, to be honest, 2023, I was pretty cold to that.
It was right misery. I was sat next to him.
Well, pretty in at the first match.
Not during that match, I mean.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't for me. I was pretty bored. So I had no expectations. I don't like Jericho. Wasn't relishing seeing the Elite come back together. To be honest, I think all the heels have just been middled. So I had a blast with how much of a blast I was having. I've got to flag up, Chris Jericho, what a dick. How does he keep getting away with this? How, after this comeback that stinks a bit and this run that shouldn't even really happened because he should have been in the Fed, how has he got 6 of the top baby faces coming out behind him to his theme for Team Jericho for Chris Jericho's big fat party match. Like, it was quite remarkable that he managed to do this. Like, what a flex of the power of this man, that like the entrance, all of it is framed around him. The finish, I know it's rooted in a Ricochet match and you need to find 6 mates or whatever, but we even said, well, the story should be he hasn't got any. That was never once in the build. In the execution, it was like, 6 mates could have 600 mates. We're having a right laugh kicking the out of you. Like, it's so...
There a table after the match.
Yeah, he was
nice
tribute to Sabu, you know, like, because he hadn't had a chance to do it last year, I guess. And he was like, well, it's a year on, I'm doing it now. I'm Chris Jericho. God damn it. Like, amazing that he's got... Do not doubt the stroke and the power this man still has, and don't be surprised if, when a heel's got the belt, Jericho might fancy a swing at it. Like, MJF needs to be watching his back, that Jericho thinks, you know what, I could be kind of the last guy to fight you before Ospreay does, and all of a sudden we might be watching them on pay-per-view again. Like, that was my thought coming out of it. So that's not great. But I thought the balance between the in-arena stuff and backstage stuff was handled very well. I didn't like the Leo Rush cameo because it was just, well, where's the joke?
It's a feat. It was really well done, obviously.
Yeah.
These things are so complex.
I enjoyed the bus crash. I can't explain why. I enjoyed the bus crash. It was so stupid. Wait here. Like that. It's, I don't know. Pop me. Big tennis racket. Yes.
So broad.
That's
stupid.
in the pantheon of big shows, big chair. Like, it's oversized. That's funny. What else did I actually pop me? Oh, I love, because the Young Bucks really, I don't think it got enough credit within the match, because to be fair, they were shooting other films and filming other things. They worked for that eventual double table spot.
Yeah, they set it up early.
It's just a double table spot, though, at the end of the day.
But it was in the, they did it with SummerSlam last year, didn't they? Bang, bang, like fought, they were going for the like, one over here, one over here, one over here, one over here, everybody's dead. Like, I like that as a clear up method. I thought that was quite...
Miss Jericho's dive on that one as well, which is funny.
Well, yeah.
Bang, Miss Jericho and the Young Bucks. That was like funny. That.
Everything's they're trying to catch it, you know. Maybe it was the context of the show. Maybe it fit this show perfectly because everything else was impressive and brilliant for like the right wrestling reasons. And it was like, this was Double or Nothing's gimmick battle royal, you know, like admittedly a longer version of that. But I wasn't bored with this.
I thought it was violently unfunny.
Sad. I didn't know about the crowd brawling and what was the other one?
Blood, which makes a lot of sense why Spike only popped up at the end of
the
FTR match, because you'd sense they'd have been like, bleed buckets in this one. And
I'm not as into, I don't need blood as much as you do, and I don't see these things as like...
I just didn't feel frenzied.
Like
the thing, it's just the rhythm of it was a bit crap for me.
The story wasn't frenzied though, was it? This build was bobbins. Like,
okay.
What, you know, but you know what I mean? Like, why would these kill each other, really?
Okay. Why does anyone kill each other in AEW really half the time, especially in these matches? I don't even need the murders or the violence. I need frenzy in terms of action, comedy, action. It was just like a series of pretty lame gags and well-built table spots that is the least thing I'm looking for in a match like this.
I thought the baby faces looked awesome to keep the full suit on for the whole match, jackets included. I know
Lashley looked great.
There it is.
Lashley and Shelton didn't, but like
the heartbreaking thing is Kenny looks so zippy. Wasting a Kenny performance on this.
Yeah. I'll tell you what did put a big smile on my face.
When you got less to do. Same.
Something that put a big smile on my face was the main event of the evening for the world title, or MJF's hair. Darby Allin versus MJF, hair versus title. We get the big introduction for everybody. Darby Allin's in the sewers where he belongs. MJF comes out.
It was really dumb. I've loved this title reign.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Darby.
It's the guy in the taxi to illustrate that he's in the suit with me. Hey, get me to the show. I'm going to miss the main event. Don't take the taxi. Take the sewer, idiot. What if I took the sewers to work? Brilliant filming. Make sure the tape's with me before showtime.
Well, meanwhile, MJF, I live in a mansion none of you can afford, and I'm not from one of these BS boroughs, he says.
Smart that, because he must have known he would have got a pop. Take that away, lift it away. Like,
very early headlock takeovers for 2 counts. But he drop kicks MJF through the ropes, does Darby. Tries to hit a suicide dive.
That makes Sting
Splinter.
Splinter. Stinger.
Master Stinger.
Yeah.
Pepperoni, my favourite. I'll put some scabs on it. Is this anything? What's that? He's on a YouTube interview, interviewing somebody in a diner, and it's him and I guess like then partner Gigi Dolan, and they're just one of the early dates. He just
Put hot sauce in my ass.
Hot sauce up his ass. Like what? And I was like, and he's like, yeah, I did. I put hot sauce on my ass.
It's a bit bland, this food. You know what I could really go for? Some hot sauce. What's the hot sauce, Darby? In my ass.
But one of the best AEW title runs ever. Thank you.
Yeah, honestly, thank you. Yes. It was amazing.
Raise a glass of water to you, Darby.
Oh, stop it, man.
People are complex.
Come on, let's not trivialise the match.
Sorry, very quickly. Like, what the hell? One of the lads at the weekend has confessed when we were camping that in his proper job, not like this, in his proper office job, he had accidentally been using a phrase because he didn't know what the definition was. Oh, he thought it meant something else. So he was in meetings going, come on, guys, come on. We really need that money shot. That's what we want to see. What the hell? What's he talking about?
Who the hell's he talking to?
What the hell's he want us to do out there? Anyway.
Wrestling told me that was rude. Val Venus.
Well, yeah, I was like, man, you watched Val Venus in the 90s. What were you thinking? Anyway. Headlock takeovers, drop kick, MJF through the ropes. Darby goes to do a hit.
Jesus Christ.
He goes to hit a suicide dive through the ropes, catches his legs on it, and lands on his head.
One of the best bumps I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. the reaction upon MGF, he's like, quid's in here. This is fantastic. This could not have worked out better for me this early.
Who is it on the old Looney Tunes cartoons where they sort of like look at the camera and do the double eyebrow? Got him this time. Look at him.
So MJF, obviously, to make the most of this,
targets the dead body.
Tries to super tombstone the corpse of Darby Allin. But that gets reversed into a diamond dust. And so MJF ends up on the ring apron. Darby's like, ooh, that diver. I reckon I still got this, though. I'll go for a coffin drop onto the apron, and MJF moves. He's dead. He's dead. If that didn't kill him, that definitely has. Yeah, he's in real trouble on the floor. So MJF hits a package pile driver on the side of the steps. Jesus Christ, Max, what are you doing, mate? Put him away. But Darby comes back with a low blow and a headlock takeover for two as they're back
Unbelievable near fall.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Scorpion deathlock. MJF gets the ropes and gets his knees up on another coffin drop. There's a code red to give Allin two more. MJF gets sent outside after they pull themselves up. There's like a stare down across the ring, obviously. This time, as Darby Allin goes to hit a dive, MJF pulls the cameraman in the way. Who has to be led away. It was a split second. You know, when they weren't focusing on it, and that's what I was like, who's that then? Who's that? Who's that?
Sim snookered out a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, he did a bit, didn't he?
A little bit of the old Sim snooker.
Could actually be there.
It's the way he sort of sat up immediately afterwards and was like, didn't get all of it. Oh!
I was like, well, me, I was filming over there. So
Yeah.
I also like the fact that in kayfabe, an innocent man who's no wrestling training whatsoever, who's just there to do his job, might have been really hurt by this. And I think it was Shivani or maybe Taz was like, that's an expensive camera as well he's carrying. I was like, priorities. They go up the stage. I was like, yes. He goes to give Darby Allin a haircut. But Darby reverses that into a choke. Puts him on the table that's part of the whole barbershop setup that they've got. Oh, God, here we go. He goes up the scaffolding. What, 20 feet? 30 feet?
High.
This is high as balls.
High.
And he coffin drops onto MJF I assume the landing is what split his head open as well. And I'm not talking about MJF, I'm talking about Darby.
The first time he came up, I'm like, get him to the back now. Get him to the back. I don't think it was as bad as his head coming apart in two, but it looked horrific at first. My imagination did a lot of fretting.
I think, like, the first time, you know, like you see a wrestler that can jump a little bit higher. Jim Ross used to always call it the hang time, didn't he? Like the ones like that make that dive, just that extra little bit, you know. Jeff Hardy doing the swan time in the way that he changed his body meant that he was in the air a little bit longer than a standard move. Like, when you're that high, you're just in the air longer. He's just to watch it is like, he's still going.
Yeah.
You're going to need to hit the table in a minute, mate. Like, it was breathtaking.
So he's bleeding from the back of the head. They go in, and he gets a 2 count. So Allen grabs the Scorpion Deathlock, collapses, gets the...
Built that well on the collision match with Guevara.
Yeah, gets the Scorpion Death Drop. And then another attempt at a coffin drop gets stopped, though. Super tombstone into a headlock takeover. 1, 2, 3. MJF regains the AEW World title. I'll just quickly mention the post-match and then you can cover everything. Darby Allin, understandably, after all this, post-match has to be loaded onto a stretcher. But MJF can't resist and he kicks the doctors away, stands tall, raises the AEW World title over what's left of Darby Allin. But Kevin Knight runs down to chase him off. And as doctors wheel Darby Allin away, Kevin Knight suddenly shifts position on the top rope and hits a UFO splash onto Darby Allin and then tips over his stretcher. A heel turn right at the very end. MJF can't believe it.
I will say this. AEW has got so many wrestlers and they push so many wrestlers at once that this should be a landmark moment in the career of Kevin Knight where you instantly think, right, well, he's headlining whatever next year. If he's getting a big heel turn at the end of one of the biggest shows of the year, Double or Nothing, I don't believe it. I don't necessarily think it's Tony Khan not really wanting to do it. I think he'll just get preoccupied. I don't think it's not that Kevin Knight can't get there. He can. It's just, I think there's a problem in AEW fundamentally with the way the storytelling works and the booking and the extravagant cast that I watch that moment and think, I'm meant to think more than I actually do about that. I just can't see it happening. Not his fault. It's just the way AEW works or doesn't function. This match was unbelievable in terms of storytelling. It told the logical story that I was always going to tell of Darby Allin simply taking one too many major risks, and he kind of beat himself in the end. MJF, like the quintessential wonderful dickhead that he is, can say after that bump from that height, from that other bump where his foot got caught, and Darby's just dangled his leg on purpose. You know what I mean? Just to give himself a little header, you know? For MJF, after all that to go, it was Headlock Takeover that did it, and my incredible wrestling acumen,
Yes.
my purest back-to-basics mastery of simple techniques that everyone knows but no one can do as well as me, that's what won me the title. That'll give him a great platform for yet more brilliant heel work this year. It's the perfect way, perfect note for Darby to go out on. I still think I prefer the Full Gear match from way back when, but here's the thing. Even though I preferred that in terms of sheer action, this match felt like almost a more perfect. Like, it couldn't have been more perfect as a sequel, because after everything that you'd seen on these AEW pay-per-views, on this particular AEW pay-per-view, the violence, the drama, some of the goddamn moves with the Z, some of the most outrageous stuff you'll ever see in your life. The atmosphere for this match is what I'll remember from it the most. It felt enormous. It felt like, talk about big fight feel. It was incredible.
Stakes, wasn't it?
It
Yeah.
felt like the stakes, the respective star power. It felt massive. I remember vividly being so impressed by MJF Darby Allin from Full Gear 2021, because I think it was 22 minutes, and they went out there with the idea being AEW has just gone on the single most insane signing spree in pro wrestling history. It's not just Danielson, the best wrestler potentially of all time. It's not just Adam Cole, like a superstar. They got CM Punk to come back, and they debuted them all three within, what, a month, 2 months of each other? Insane. And I remember watching that opener thinking, they don't care who AEW have just signed. They are wrestling that match as if to say, this is going to be the main event one day, not anything them three can do. And it was one of the most impressive matches I've ever seen because it was just them two going, nah, I don't care who you've just signed. It's us who's are building around. It is, we're going to go out there and prove it.
Yep.
And I remember watching that match thinking that'll be a main event on a pay-per-view someday. And they did, and fans cared way more about it and bought those two wrestlers in those two main event spots. And it was incredible as a result. There's one bit where I thought, you have to do this. It was a little bit, I hate the West Side Story spot when the wrestlers sort of heroically try and convey how epic a struggle this is and how they're evenly matched and look at how big and cool and badass and main event like we are because we're going to stand up at the same time. They did that by the ropes. Usually that spot gives me the ick because it's a bit showy, it's a bit grabby, but my God, they earned it. They earned it from how massive this felt as a match. Incredible stuff. In terms of sheer bell-to-bell action, I think both of them have had better matches, and in fact, they've had better matches this year. But in terms of what the promise from that Full Gear 2021 opener was to how their careers have gone since, they must have loved it. They must have loved it, thinking, we've actually fucking made it.
It just had so many. I'd agree with you. I love that Full Gear match. But this had so many moments within it where I was just saying wow at my telly, that it's almost like they could treat themselves to these because of kind of what they've already done. I love the match, and I don't want to discredit it by talking about something else. I need to put over what I think is why AEW is so worth everybody's time in 2026. The plotting taking place in this main event scene is exceptional. And this match solidified it for me by the finish. If you go back to Dynasty, unless I've got my shows wrong, MJF passes the ultimate test in finding a way around Kenny Omega, who we are told is back to career best and can't still get it done against MJF, who keeps his title. Meanwhile, Will Ospreay, who has returned, who has replaced Kenny Omega, who's become the next Kenny Omega and who is our next world champion, and we know this to be true, loses to Jon Moxley. That happens on the same night, right? So on a night where you are watching these two men that you were certainly going to make the main event, one guy has all of a sudden hit this brick wall while another guy couldn't be better, right? Then, between then and now, MJF is so confident and so cocky and so arrogant that he loses his title. Like the ultimate, you're not going to go to Wembley because you've lost your belt. You've fallen from the top of the mountain to the very bottom, right? Darby Allin goes on the type of run that MJF will never want. The Darby Allin title run is one of the best in AEW history, and what it is effectively is the cherry on the icing of this world title cake. It's not even really the story in the long term of it all, and yet they've just crafted like one of the best title runs ever. In the meantime, Will Ospreay has to sort of go to Jon Moxley, or has to study with the Death Riders about where he's going wrong, about what he's doing, not doing right, and what has been the biggest key thing that Jon Moxley's trying to get across in his teaching beyond the bollocks and the death ground and all the nonsense. What he's basically saying is sort that neck out. Sort that neck out. And MJF, in the ultimate kill shot against Darby Allin when he's made one mistake too many, which has been the theme of his title reign, plotting. By the way, en route, MJF is not really wanted to wrestle, but he's gone and had a little mini banger with Kevin Knight, who was endorsed by Swerve Strickland all this time ago, and Swerve Strickland was still in the title picture. For all of this to play out now, MJF gets it done, not with a Dynamite Diamond Ring, not with cheating. He does it with a tombstone from the top rope, or from the second rope. But like that, that's what he's beating Darby with, because Darby's neck is no longer strong enough. That bump in this match, but really it's a combination of the stuff he's taken in this title reign. He's bandaged up effectively. You've just created the spot, either in the match or in the build-up to the match, that is the defining spot of the title match between MJF and Will Ospreay.
He's going to be on a stretch, yeah.
A tombstone from the top rope that either stretches him in an angle the week before, and Ospreay is going to be hit with it at Wembley for one of the great 2 counts in a stadium. And I don't doubt for a second how much of this, some stuff in wrestling, of course you stumble on by accident, but you need the pieces in place in the first place to get those happy accidents. That is elite tier I've used it again as a pun. I don't mean it to. But the level of thought and depth of thought and the characters that are so in all of these macro stories and micro stories that they can think of those little details. Levels above.
MJF also made Hangman Page get stretched out as well. So
Yeah.
that could be a motif.
The stud on the chest, he did it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting that he's
So
like...
Ospreay, either, as you say, in the build or at Wembley, something happens to his neck, he's got stretched out, he could do the whole, get me off this stretcher, I'm running back to the ring for that big... We'll see.
Off this title-winning tombstone spot. That, like, he could have been... He's always going to win with the headlock takeover, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So the death move before the headlock takeover could have been anything, couldn't it? And they picked that, and it just felt so pronounced to me that they did. Like, amazing.
Let's quickly wrap up with some comments from people in the chat. Thank you so long for waiting so long for this, by the way. Hi to Matt Rains, who says happy Tuesday to everyone but Everton
Tuesday
and their supporters. Incredible show. AW pay-per-views in the big 26 of an out this world. Have a great day,
Villa.
guys.
It's Villa.
Away the lads. Love you, King, he says. The lovely Mimi Burris says, hello, a great pay-per-view and a great birthday weekend. Even 19 minutes of John Moxley on pay-per-view couldn't ruin that. Hope you had a nice long weekend too, and thank you to Wilbourn for my lovely cameo. You're welcome, Mimi. Happy birthday again for that one. Steve Nicolacouples, who says, g'day, fellow consensual Johnsons. YouTube didn't like the Enzo version. With MJF too scared to join the bald community, who should join in his place? Do it, Jericho, you coward. Thanks, gents.
Again, Ortiz, Jericho, people wanted to see it. If I'm Chris Jericho, I'm thinking I have to do it at least once in my career. Look how much people were gagging for it. His next heel run. I think MJF kind of should do it again at some point. People were really... I mean, it's the ultimate step. I'm surprised American wrestling hasn't completely abused it and beaten it to death. But because people were really... There was a clamour. There was a clamour for MJF to lose his hair. I think he should do it.
He's built one more thing in that people can clamour for. He's very good at that, isn't he?
He is.
Willie had it, and
I didn't really do much.
kind of blown that a little
I've
bit.
barely seen him, really.
Yeah, I've not really made the best of that one. But he would have been a one before it happened, funnily enough. So
Yeah. You want...
not.
So maybe like an Andrade. I'm just trying to think of people with
That's a good
lovely
shout.
long hair.
Nah, I want to see him as a babyface now, though. That's the thing.
Love him.
Great. How you know?
Darryl Faulkner, unlike Mark Lee Willis, who's still celebrating in the chat, understandably, says, sorry, 1 second. Sacre tangent. Club football's dead. I'm a Southampton fan, so bring on the World Cup.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother. Yeah, club football is dead.
Yeah, it's better than ever. But I do feel incredibly sorry for Southampton fans because you have no control over that, and that must, like, especially because football's a pretty cruel game.
You ever seen that Tonda bloke interviewed?
No.
He's kind of had this weird appeal where it's like he's quite softly spoken and very intense, and I thought, oh, he's just some kind of like maverick guy. It takes on a completely different tenor in the wake of him being accused of like cheating and like bollocking people for not giving him the best information. So if you watch him get interviewed in the context of what's happened and gone on, it's like it's bone chilling. He's like a chilling guy.
It's like not quite literally this, but it was like borderline like a work experience guy that was sent to do it as well, wasn't it? They've really
like an intern.
An intern. That's just
an intern.
It's like that, wasn't he? Just behind a tree.
Oh God, he's like, I will say.
Wouldn't want to be a Man City fan if that's the charges you're getting for a bit of spying, though.
Just, what is it, 115 charges? Or whatever?
I'm hearing whispers about that lately.
They're going to be playing Chesterfield next season.
It feels like it's coming back into the conversation.
I feel like the Pep departure wasn't
Certainly
it?
came in when Pep said he was leaving, didn't it?
Darryl asks our thoughts on the England squad selection. Cheers, goats.
I'm going to be nicer than most. When people say, oh, where's Phil Foden, who in terms of pure actual talent, you could argue is the most talented England player, like of prime peak physical conditioning right now. The kid is unbelievable. He's not a kid anymore, but he's not that particularly in form. And how many years have we completely been appalled and baffled by...
Yep.
Well, not baffled. You want your best players on the pitch. But how many times it's been like, why are you playing? Was even the last tournament, it was Foden was like wasted on the left or whatever. Years gone by, that ridiculous diamond to get Scholes, Lampard and Gerrard in there. Tuchel has been saying balance, 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 balance. one of the key flaws of all the England campaigns that I've seen is a grown-up, really, no balance in the side whatsoever. So he's said, I need players for the positions, for the system, for the balance. There are, like, Phil Foden is a better player than Dan Burn. But you can see why one's been selected in their position than the other. I will say I don't get the Henderson thing at all.
No.
You know what I kind of do? If there's, like, a game that's nervy and England are holding on to a lead, he's so... Like, he's won...
Been good for Brentford this season.
He's been good for Brentford this season. He's won the lot
Yeah.
as at club level, so he can come on for 10 minutes and just do some sideways passing, which seems like a ridiculously simple job under that hostile sort of... I've got very few... The one that stood out to me was like, why have you picked John Stones? Like, he hasn't played football. He has not played football.
I think my thing is...
Bones kind of finished.
I've got worked up over England squad so many times, and then that's not really been the downfall of England at a tournament. I've learned not to be that concerned by it. Plus, I think a lot of the names that people are getting worked up about, Dan Burn, for example,
he's played class for England every time he's been called up.
And I realise this is a bigger tournament. I think, yes, there will be squad rotation. I think at the end of the day, a lot of the times people get concerned about the names on the squad sheet, and you go like, right, but our starting 11 from that, our starting arguably
every game
14, right? If you're switching out a Rashford for a Rodgers or whatever like that, I think our attacking talent is unbelievable this year, and we're winning the World Cup.
We're not. On Lewis Hall, don't hate us. Geordie, Newcastle fans, sacrilege corner. People are disgusted by Lewis Hall not getting the call up, and Livramento's baffling but then he's better at either or. He can play left back and right back. He played left back in the cup final. Did Livramento? His form has been piss poor this season. Lewis Hall, I think he's got the chance to be Gareth Bale. He's defensively, he's so great at going forward. And yes, he pocketed Lamal, but I think defensively, bit suspect at times.
Sticking with a quick, sorry, your thoughts on the World Cup? Excited?
He doesn't know any England players.
Yeah, I didn't know that the team had been announced.
Johan Benson says,
you should do your research if you're allowed to enjoy football. Man.
Quick soccer tangent. Congratulations to Big Ham on Europe.
Thank you very much. That's another reason why I can't care about this World Cup.
His words, not mine. I'm just reading it. Well deserved to the baby faces of the Tyneside derby.
Correct.
Knocks on Sidge's door. Lewis Hall come to play for Man United? ?
I'd still want to sell him, obviously. Yeah. Like, I still think he could either be the next Gareth Bale in terms of moving positions, or he's still so good at building up attack and play that I'm willing to let, the defensive frailties go, if you like. So no, don't go to Man U and shut your mouth while I'm at it. Definitionally they are. I mean, you once willingly allowed a nonce to play football so you could win a derby. Absolutely the most pathetic display ever.
Could win a derby.
You once hired, that was the entire operating model for one time. It was. No, you got the new manager pounds for the derbies, and you know it.
That was the model.
Yeah, and one of them was a fascist as well. So it used to be
difficult times there.
Yeah. It used to be that Sunderland were the heels. 2021 sadly changed all that, but Sunderland were the heels once upon a time.
And that's the end of this soccer tangent.
Nah, you're school bullied.
Fascist in a nonce. And all the Brexit votes.
Mem Birdman says, first time AEW used the minimalist entrance stage was the first Forbidden Door. It was so clean. I appreciate and prefer every time that they use it. And Lee McVery says, is AEW the best thing to happen to the industry this millennium? It's a yes from me. I like it. AEW is pro wrestling magic. Another Fed boom may not have happened without it. More jobs for wrestlers and giving them another top platform to paint their art on.
Yeah, without question. In terms of pay, expression, the type of profile of wrestler getting pushed at the main event level through their talent alone, not their size. I'm thinking of Darby Allin, obviously. Unquestionably the best thing to happen to American wrestling this millennium. However, and I don't think this is like on purpose or deliberate or sabotage or anything like that, it's had a knock-on effect on the indies that people don't want to talk about or admit.
Like an enormous. Well, the indies can't do what they were so effective at doing in the 2010s, especially because there was such a need for them.
Yeah,
and
there ain't any need.
The need has disappeared, and then sometimes you don't even know the need while it might be happening. And you've flagged this up before. If like a wrestler might be filling a need that the indie suddenly has, well, see on Dynamite in 3 weeks, that's gone again. Like
if there's ever a trend, it's dead forever. The indies for me, because it's not just like if a trend emerged, WWE indie crap, I'm not touching that. If like anything got over, a new movement, a new style, a new whatever, I don't know what it is, AEW would be like, oh, well, we've got our nose to the ground and we'd like that, so we'll do it on our television show.
There was such a... I really hope that the next time we're all able to go, like, you can experience the Cluster F firsthand, because it was the first time since the formation of AEW that I've been like, right, that's what the indies could be. But even then, you're talking like once a year, while everyone's in a big celebratory mood, the ultimate kind of party match, not something that travels through the screen, really. You got to watch it live. There was characters. Basically, I would say there was it was overstuffed with the next generation of like Orange Cassidy characters. You know, like
there's been a memification of indie wrestling for a long time,
and
that predates AEW.
Yeah, and a lot of it kind of felt like that was all that was left. But seeing all of it in one go was this wonderful sugar rush. But you can't book towns on that 12 months of the year. There's that Sleepy Joe guy. So he's like just wanting to be asleep. And he brings his pillow with him. And then like when he's got somebody in a submission, they've tried to pin him. And he's like done a crucifix sort of submission. And like, I forget who it was, but she was like struggling for dear life. Not screaming, but going like, and everybody's like in the crowds whispering, tap, tap, tap. Because everyone's got the joke immediately. Yeah. It's like that sort of stuff. You can't really transpose that to television. Yeah. So that's never going to jump. But you can't put the world title on those characters.
Nope.
You need that one worker at the top of it to be able to put that in the middle.
The ecosystem's broken. That it is.
Final 3 comments for you here. Lovely one here from Adam Zingales. Adam says, I listen to all of you daily, and I'm getting married on July 3rd. Thank you for being a huge part of my life and a voice and outlet for wrestling. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'll even dedicate a WrestleCulture quiz to you on your wedding day.
Probably be the best thing about his wedding day, that I imagine.
Please remind me near the time, Adam. Eddie Wynn Gaming says, off topic, but rate this match I booked in 2K. 4-way tag ladder match for the AEW tag titles. Young Bucks versus Claudio Moxley versus the Steiner Bros versus the Iron Sheik and DX Triple H.
7 out of 8 ain't bad.
Yeah. But you know, let's not be harsh on Claudio.
He didn't shut up, man. He didn't do it often enough. But Triple H eating crap in a big bump in a match like that, I would trust him to get that right.
Mm-hmm.
If he did nothing else, do that.
I like that. Death Rider's out. Legitimately, go a bit wackier. Other than that, love it.
Final comment here from Drew C, who says, good day. Do you think the New Day could be brought into AEW as top main event talent, or should AEW use the slow mid-card intro? Could Creed cement his legacy and get his world title in AEW?
No, he can't.
I have a take on this.
They should come in as a tag team.
I would bring them in as a tag team, and I would they should absolutely come in. They are worth signing. Like, absolutely red carpet megastar that bitch to maximize like the very first match or matches. I would even say like, you know, your Escalera de la Muerte. Like if you want to do a 4-way on the night, remember how
WrestleMania 33
how they brought the Hardys back. You bring them in like that. Mega star. Belt them up if you want on that first night.
You'd have to.
And then I've got to say, right, I love them, and I do think because he never won the world title, there is this sense of like there's unfinished business in wrestling for Austin Creed.
No, everyone has to win a world title.
No, I actually think the best you get out of the New Day is the very, very, very brief period where you keep them as megastars, almost like how have AEW got the New Day? You know, like it's, to be honest, they can live without them, but just tell the audience, oh my God, how have we got the New Day? And then after that, they're a very welcome, like, tag team for the division,
Yeah.
and that's it.
They were not that over for a long time in WWE, and people are willing to overlook that because they're excited about their arrival. But it's going to be hard, I think.
Right, we'll leave it there. If you're thinking, I want more Dudleys, the Raw review video version is going to be available as soon as this live stream finishes, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But let us know your thoughts on Double or Nothing in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCultureWWE. Watch, they can follow all four of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett, sort of, at
Hamflex@gmail.com. I'm also on Cameo.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
A non-cinefascist. That's not me. That's what I was describing Sunderland as. M. Sidgwick.
The handle is a nonsense of that. Is that one taken? Yeah, probably.
Probably several times these days.
A nonsense of fascist 64. What?
Mark Phoenix in the chat, by the way, when you first said it, wrote, who had fascist and a nonce on their Dadley bingo card? Follow our brilliant producer.
Baby face is something my cock.
Someone had got in here, press the red button. Like that.
Press more buttons. I don't even know what that means while pressing.
Follow our brilliant producer, Adam Nicholas.
My head will come
It's
off.
Adam Nicholas.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. And of course, we'll be previewing Dynamite after all this tomorrow. But for now, it's been the Double or Nothing review. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick, to Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.